Real message from Kathy Hochul, State of the State. Escape New York. Ooh. Early in her State of the State address on Tuesday, Governor Kathy Hochul cited widespread fears of crime. Gee, where could that be coming from? And the sky high cost of living as threats to New York's future. She said predictions of a recession mean we will not be raising income taxes this year. So far, I mean, they're trying to not scare out the few remaining people who work who still live in New York. So far, so good. And she followed that with her smartest observation of the day. We're already seeing signs of out migration that we can no longer ignore. Huh. Heart, be still. Maybe she finally gets it, but not a chance. Not after she spent the next 40 minutes announcing a seamlessly endless list of big spending, big government programs that would make the state less affordable and less appealing, all while giving Albany bureaucrats vast powers to override local zoning and building laws. Last summer, Hochul, she looks like a fake. She looks like she's wearing a fake, like a mask. That's just her face. Last summer, Hochul told Republican opponent Lee Zeldin to jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong. Zing. It's a sick burn, Hochul. Tuesday's speech upped the ante, effectively telling New Yorkers of every political stripe in every city, town, and village to jump on a bus or on a plane and get out of Dodge while they can. What? So she's telling all New Yorkers to leave. Like, that's wild. It was that bad. Yikes. The governor finally admitting the state is facing an out migration crisis, which means a fuck ton of people are moving out. To judge by the plan she laid out, the governor is wildly ambitious but deeply confused. A laundry list of ideas and proposals and a 275-page book with even more of them does not an agenda make. Especially not when some items would actually worsen the problems she identified. For example, she talked about record high energy bills across the state and then vowed to wean ourselves off fossil fuels. She's delusional. While making electricity cheaper through a subsidy program that seemed to my ears to be funded by a carbon tax. Calling Professor Irwin Corey, I don't understand this reference, but it sounds smart. Even the lefty legislature, which never meant a boondoggle, it didn't declare an absolute necessity for mankind. This is great. We need to say boondoggle more. Was underwhelmed by Hochul's address. The only standing, prolonged ovation it gave her was for a promise to index the state's minimum wage law to inflation. No wonder the legislature likes it. It's an idea that's a proven job killer, especially entry level jobs. That's what happens when you impose costs on employers. Though nobody in Albany seems to know or care. Elsewhere, the governor only got silence when she ruled out an income tax hike and said vaguely that there was room for improvement in the disastrous bail laws that have turned courthouses into revolving doors. She sucks. How about a little passion and conviction, Governor? Merely to do drive-by mention on such fundamental issues tells lawmakers not to worry. She's not going to declare war if they buck her. The moment captures the basic flaw in Hochul's tenure. She's not really a fighter, with her getting rolled repeatedly by legislators from her own party last year. Her second year is shaping up to be more of the same, with her approval of an obscene salary hike of 29% to $142,000 for each lawmaker. Jesus, wow. Without getting anything in return. If the state is in such bad shape, why do the people who screwed it up deserve a raise? Good question. At least Hochul could have threatened to veto it unless the Senate agreed to approve her choice for a new chief judge, but she gave away the raise even as Dems packed the judiciary panel with opponents of her nominee, Justice Hector de LaSalle. Power, that's the only language the legislature understands. Why is Hochul still behaving like a hesitant beginner? Moreover, with her convoluted speech, oh my god, my nose is so itchy. What's happening? She missed another important opportunity to redefine herself as she begins her own term. Zeldin made the election the closest race in 2 decades, largely on his promise to focus on cutting crime and taxes and generating jobs. Hochul had little to say on anything and spent most of the campaign in hiding, emerging only in the final weeks and only when surrounded by national Democrats such as Biden and Clinton. Blech. The closeness of the race in deep blue New York ought to have schooled her on the public mood. At one point on Tuesday, she appeared to recognize that she was serving up a stew of unremarkable ingredients, saying, "Today I'm proposing another series of proposals." But the recognition, if that's what it was, didn't matter because she's for everything, she's for nothing, which is probably what she will accomplish. That's the tragedy because having identified key issues of public safety, affordability, jobs, and taxes, she should have built an agenda around restoring the state's economic engine. I wonder if New York just gets like a certain amount of like federal funding that it doesn't fucking matter. That she's gonna just do the bare minimum. Serious outmigration. Okay, the outmigration issue, where New York saw the greatest population decline of any state, even more than California, according to census data. Hochul concedes the seriousness of the drain, saying in her New Year's Day inaugural that we must reverse the trend of people leaving our state. It's a little late for that, lady. Repeating that idea Tuesday suggested she aims to do something big enough not only to keep people here, especially high earners. Why would a high earner want to stay here and be taxed out their ass? But also to make the state attractive to working and middle class families. What? Okay. Charter schools, for instance, offer an oasis in many neighborhoods where regular school districts operate as union dominated failure factories. But if the speech was any indication, expanding quality public education options is not a priority. Indeed, there was nothing in the entire speech that would indicate a sharp course correction. Anything worthwhile, such as a commitment to 1,000 new psychiatric beds, was offset by larger doses of more of the same poison that is killing jobs and dreams. The most alarming proposal involved a goal of getting 800,000 new housing units over a decade. What is that, Section 8? Like projects? The number is attractive, but how she would get there seemed to scare even many legislatures. Calling that idea a housing compact, Hochul accused local officials across the state of blocking new development, often for no legitimate reason. So it sounds like she wants to be able to just build projects wherever the fuck she wants, regardless of zoning. Her cure for the state is to set a mandate saying every single locality will have a target for new housing. If any proposed development is rejected, the state will take a wild guess on who's going to live in this new housing. The migrants. If any proposed development is rejected, the state will examine why and, if necessary, approve it despite local objection. She also insisted that every town with a commuter rail line must rezone to allow new development within a half mile of the train station. That's going to be bad for Soho. That's going to be bad for Tribeca. Upper West Side, Upper East Side. Without irony, she described this process as one of the communities getting help from the state. Wow. Perhaps she still doesn't know that one of the three biggest lies is when someone says, "I'm from the government, I'm here to help." Unable to ignore reports that classified documents were found in a former office of Joe Biden's, the AP did its best to downplay the significance, describing the find as merely an unexpected wrinkle in the Trump document probe. What happened to fears of treason in Armageddon? Where did they go? Reader Patrick Turamike wants House Speaker Kevin McCarthy to pull a Nancy Pelosi with a twist. He writes, McCarthy should tear up the president's State of the Union speech while Biden is speaking. That would throw him off. Oh, I would love that. That would be hilarious. And to the comments. At one time, the title Empire State meant something. No longer. We once were the corporate home to half of the Fortune 500 corporations. Sadly, no longer. Upstate New York was a hub of business and manufacturing. Now, upstate is hemorrhaging jobs and population, and no one in Albany notices or cares. Based on the governor's address, this distressing trend will only intensify. Even Wall Street is slowly but surely migrating to Miami. Wall Street is a ghost town. I worked down there in the 90s, and it was busy, busy, busy. Democrats destroy everything in their path. Someone thinks, well, technology killed Wall Street. It's renamed the Vampire State. That's funny. New York and NYC is in vicious competition with California and Illinois, among others, for the leading sanctuary Abyss Award. Ugh. House seats and electoral college votes are apportioned based on population, legal or not. If New York wasn't importing thousands of illegals, it would be outright losing population along with House seats and electoral college votes. This is one reason why they're importing so many illegals. That's like the smartest thing I've read in a long time. Yeah. People are leaving New York in droves. People are also not having babies. Like our national birth rate is down. So they're right. If New York loses a lot of its population, they lose electoral college votes. So that's why they're busing in all the illegals to keep that up, to keep it Democrat. Wow. And by a stroke of absolute magic, illegals get to be part of the population when needed to preserve congressional seats. Yup. No new taxes or when taxes are already sky high is not going to cut it. You need a major tax cut to begin to stem at least some of the outmigration. And the only way you can get it is by implementing serious pension and benefit reform involving public sector employees, including teachers. That'll never happen because of the union's own Hochul and the legislature. And as far as housing is concerned, the private sector, i.e., home builders, isn't going to just rush in and start slapping up apartment buildings. It's too expensive to build. It takes too much time. There are too many obstacles that she's not going to be able to simply eliminate with a wave of a hand. To be fair, these problems have been around for years. She didn't create them, but she's not going to be able to solve them either. And part of that has to do with the fact that she's part of the problem. These are very smart comments here on the New York Post. Did you know that Goodwin's wife is an employee of the state of New York and makes $375,000 a year, which is almost twice the pay of a governor? Interesting. His wife is the head of Hunter College and has been since 2001 making $254,000. Dang. Goodwin himself gets money from the CIA. You get the government you vote for. Apparently, high taxes, high crime, high homelessness are attractive to some, but they don't appear to be attractive to taxpayers. The top 1% of earners who pay almost half of all the state income taxes are leaving in droves and taking their state mandated donations with them. So Hochul can make all the plans and promises she wants, but the people who sold their votes for whatever they could get for them will have no benefactors left soon. Ultimately, the federal government will continue to send billions of dollars to New York State to prop up the insanity of New York's politics. Okay, that's what I was saying before, that they just get money from the federal government. So is New York just becoming like a welfare state? You're right. Let's assume that the vote was fair. Then there's only one conclusion. In this state, especially in the city, most of those who never worked and never pay taxes from all are covered by the fascist communist clan. And now try to imagine the number of lazy criminals, uh, and to that add uh, illegal lazy refugees who are not going to work to pay taxes. They have all arrived suddenly sick and will sit on the neck of not millionaires and billionaires, but U.S. workers. Woo! Fire comments. The two worst governors ever: Greasy Gruesome Newsom and Pancake Face Hochul. That's great. 30% pay increase. They do this in the face of $7 eggs. How much representations are you guys getting? People are pissed. New Yorkers are pissed. Okay, a milestone member from Torgo the White. Her only proposal that will work is the zoning stuff. Zoning is nonsense. Local bureaucrats should have no say over what you do with your land. I agree. Love you guys. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Bye. All right. Love you guys. God, I don't even want to leave. This candle smells so good. I don't want to leave. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye. Love you all. Join the Discord. Feet. Love you all. Wow. You guys are awesome. Come and get it. Bye, guys. Bye. Now I'm really leaving. Love you. Bye.